I'm Rawlson King, City Councillor for Rita Rockcliffe, and a beneficiary of multiculturalism. Multiculturalism is the bedrock in which our nation is founded. It is the force which gravitated my own parents to come from the Caribbean many decades ago. The term multiculturalism in Canada reflects the social ideal or values that accepts cultural pluralism as a positive and distinctive feature of Canadian society. There is no denying that Canada is a pluralistic society. 20 years ago, 31% claimed ethnic background other than English or French. 20 years from now, nearly half of Canadians over the age of 15 will have been born somewhere else in the world or have at least one foreign-born parent. According to Statistics Canada, by 2031, nearly 28% of the population will be foreign-born, surpassing the 20th century record set between 1911 and 1931, when 22% of the population was born outside of the country. 47% of second-generation Canadians will belong to a visible minority group, nearly doubling the proportion of 24% reported in 2006, when 5.3 million people in Canada belonged to visible minorities. Within 2 decades, the foreign-born population of Canada will be projected to increase 4 times faster than the rest of the population. The population of Canada's foreign-born might reach between 9.8 million and 12.5 million, depending on various immigration assumptions. The vast majority of visible minorities will continue to flock to Canada's major cities. In Toronto, fully 63% of the population will be made up of visible minorities. The same will be true of more than half of Vancouver's population and nearly a third of Montreal. In Ottawa, a full quarter of our million-person population consists of racialized people. With the literal face of the country changing so quickly, it only seems sensible social policy to continue to embrace the values and the policies of multiculturalism, which help promote social harmony and help to break down discriminatory attitudes and cultural acrimony. Our country is only strengthened when we endeavor to work together to both understand and bridge our differences. It is the strength of Canada's diversity that makes this country, our country, the best country on the face of the earth. The late Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau acknowledged that if national unity is to mean anything in its deepest personal sense, it must be founded on confidence in one's own individual identity. Only out of this can grow respect for others and a willingness to share ideas, attitudes, and assumptions. He noted that a vigorous policy of multiculturalism could help create this initial confidence and help form the basis of a society which is based on the notion of fair play for all. Trudeau's argument for a multicultural Canada did not engender social engineering. His arguments, which were supported by all political factions at the time of its introduction, was an intelligent response to the changing nature of our country and a way to express respect for basic human dignity. With a dwindling national birth rate, Canada is dependent upon immigration to maintain its population and economic growth. According to statistics, immigration is currently responsible for nearly 2/3 of Canada's population growth. Multiculturalism as a policy welcomes newcomers to our country, expanding the notion of citizenship beyond language, ethnicity, and historical colonial ties. Multiculturalism, as a consequence, demonstrates Canada's resolve to evolve as a progressive society. Multiculturalism, being a social value, must naturally demonstrate a capacity to constantly evolve to address our immigration rates. As policy, multiculturalism cannot be static and must be more than a mechanism to appease immigrant communities or create greater electoral appeal for the government of the day. Multiculturalism must be a social value that endeavors to make the promise of personal opportunity and socioeconomic betterment more open, inclusive, and accessible to all, regardless of ancestral origin, race, religion, creed, or language. Today, a Canadian-born male who belongs to a visible minority group earns about 18% less than a Canadian-born white male with similar education and experience. For women, economists note that the wage gap is even wider. More acutely, according to a recent Statistics Canada study, Black Canadians are paid less on average than whites. Second-generation Blacks face a wage gap of about 10 to 15% compared with non-visible minorities. In the face of these realities, it is evident that an evolving multiculturalism policy must evolve beyond crude oversimplifications of culture as only being about festivals, cuisine, or cultural history, which leads to pointed overemphasis on the otherness of visible minorities and easy stereotyping about expressions of cultural identity and religious belief. Instead, multiculturalism should evolve through political action towards providing fair access to equal opportunities for visible minorities so that they have a fair chance to contribute to the social, economic, and political fabric of our country. Multiculturalism must also affirm all people's equity when dealing with their governments. Pluralism does not equate to equity. This is a lesson that my parents learned when they came to this country decades ago as teachers and could only find their first jobs in this country as laborers. Fast forward to today and you hear the same story. Educated people come to this country only to work hard to better the lives of their children. But in the end, they find that they cannot obtain a fair shot, and they find that the bedrock of multiculturalism is only sand or clay, the worst of all foundations. As a result, as Canadians and as a society, we need to work harder to ensure everyone has a fair shot. In the City of Ottawa, we have responded to requests by Indigenous, Black, racialized, and religious communities to establish an anti-racism secretariat that will work towards the elimination of systemic racism in our municipal governments, operations, and as well in its services. In Ottawa, we have experienced discrimination through prejudice, ignorance, and racist stereotyping, which ultimately has led to disparities in income, employment, housing, healthcare, and education. In my own ward, just 1 month after my election in April 2019, as the first Black city councillor in the city's history, a Black family in Rideau Rockcliffe was subjected to a hate crime where a vandal left a message in black paint on their garage door that had a racially charged word followed by "get out." That was not a situation that we accepted as a community or as a city. As we know, Ottawa has the highest rates of hate crime among Canadian cities, according to numbers released by Statistics Canada. There were 105 hate crimes reported to police, or 9.8 incidents per 100,000 people in 2018. After the specific incident in my ward, we moved quickly as a community and a city to actively take measures to eliminate systemic racism through the creation of an anti-racism office at the municipality. In the city's 2020 budget, Council committed funding for my proposal for the development of an anti-racism office, a corporate anti-racism strategy, and also recently hired a full-time anti-racism specialist. I'm proud that Mayor Watson and my council colleagues wholeheartedly embraced the creation of this new policy unit and position. The creation of an anti-racism secretariat in Ottawa will target systemic racism by building an anti-racism approach into the way our city government develops policies, makes decisions, evaluates programs, and monitors outcomes. The policy unit would be a real manifestation of the city's equity and inclusion lens, building upon the work that the city started in 2015. The Secretariat, as proposed, will seek to identify and eliminate systemic barriers for racialized people by addressing, number one, employment equity. The City of Ottawa workforce is 17,000 people and does not reflect the 25% of people who are racialized, particularly in the city staff upper management at the leadership decision-making level. Number two, we're going to work towards equity in governance. The city's commissions, agencies, and boards have a direct impact on decisions on the lives of residents and should proportionally reflect Ottawa's population. Number three, we're going to focus on housing immigrants who struggle with housing affordability due to long housing registry wait times. The city must invest more in housing and eliminate discrimination in housing policies. Number four, we're going to look at economic development. The city should ideally be providing equitable economic opportunities through social procurement and community benefit programs that promote economic inclusion for all of its residents. Number five, we're going to look at health outcomes, because while physical and sexual health are important focuses, racialized communities are specifically requesting mental health supports. And number six, we will be looking at youth development. A 21st century economy requires more education and recreational opportunities to ensure young people prosper, especially in economically marginalized communities. These 6 pillars will be the major areas of focus for consultation and action planning. The Anti-Racism Office will undertake public engagement to continue to refine the Secretariat's priorities. The office will also ensure we apply a gender and race lens to data when making decisions. These new initiatives demonstrate the seriousness in which government must take responsibility to identify when members of our community are denied equal opportunity to succeed and to eliminate the systemic barriers creating this inequity, especially in the national capital of a country that has officially adopted a policy of multiculturalism. We recognize that First Nations, Inuit, Métis, new immigrants, and different racialized and religious communities all call Ottawa home and have a right to fully participate in our city. We want residents to know that Council is collectively committed to actual systemic change and to elimination of racism in our city, which is long overdue. These discussions are absolutely essential if we want to achieve progress for equity of opportunity and outcome for all residents in our city and in our country. Thank you for taking the time to listen to me today.